Gentleman from California, Mr. LaMalfa, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we weren't supposed to really talk about this up until recently here, that indeed the United States does have an ammunition shortage for our military here and around the world. But it's so widely reported in the press, I guess we really shouldn't ignore it anymore and pretend that it isn't a problem. So recently, with the controversy around cluster bombs, the president has defended his decision to send them to Ukraine by announcing the U.S. Army ammunition stockpiles are depleted. In other words, basically, this is all we have that we can give them at this point. Primary reasons are lack of funds and little focus on production, and truly, the lack of will to truly ramp up and build our ammunition stocks to what they should be. The U.S. military's goal, decades ago, was that we could fight a two-front war. The United States used to have that might and capability. We saw that in World War II, with many other allies, of course, around the world that we fought side by side with. As we know, modern Western military hardware is indeed incredibly complex, costly, and difficult to produce at scale. It requires a large infrastructure, a well-protected supply chain, and a large workforce of skilled labor. But these are things that we're capable of as a country. Look at all the gadgetry we can build in order to satisfy a market of people desiring entertainment. Artillery round expenditures we point to in Ukraine really paint a dark picture. The Ukrainians burned through, get this, a year's worth of U.S. artillery rounds production in 1 month. In 1 month, they can burn through a year's worth of our production. That's just Ukraine. What does that make our own stocks look like? We must ramp up production tremendously if we're going to continue in some fashion or not the controversial backing of Ukraine. We have to be able to supply them in order to have them be able to do a credible job on the field if we're going to support that policy, but we have to build our own stocks. So what does this mean for us? We're actually foraging shells and ammunition from stocks around the world, even from our allies, in order to keep the chain going into Ukraine. And so that's why cluster bombs, right? The main concern for American defense really should be, though, is that what does that mean if China's aggression gets much worse? What if they make a move on Taiwan that we are obligated, promise to back up on? What about other issues that may happen in NATO? Are we ready? We're not near ready for it. We need to produce the bombs and the bullets and the other hardware so that we have that as a deterrent and not have the ideal that we're so weak that they know they can make a move on us or our allies. It's really that simple. It's really common sense. So ramping up these domestic munitions production could run afoul of a lot of the ideals that the Democrats hold: climate, environment, or just a philosophy that they think that we're not going to, if we don't produce the ammunition, we don't produce these arms, that we just won't have war. Well, we're going to have to make some very clear choices here with the Democrat policies. Is it about climate? Is it about environment by producing these things and have them ready and available to deter war? Or do they want to weaken us so much that China or others can make any kind of move they want and we just have to sit and watch? So these munitions are procured on a yearly basis. That's why when we have an orderly process around here through appropriations, working through our committees, etc., that we can have, instead of a last-minute continuing resolutions, just means, hey, throw last year's spending in the hopper, put some duct tape and baling wire on it and kick it out for another year or whatever the period is. You can't plan for that. You certainly can't plan long-term to up your military needs and fill them when we do last-minute things like that. So we have to have a better process of procuring and planning for it. So what we saw from the end of the Cold War, we scaled down military. Okay, maybe there's a dividend there. We lost 1/3 of the armament production after the Soviet Union collapsed. Then on the global war on terror, procurements and production was indeed focused on smaller, low-intensity conflicts, not a wide war. Training labor, skilled labor, takes time and building the infrastructure to do so will take time. But what we have in place, we should be running 24/7 and have the will to do it. So what does that mean for national security? I just said it. What are they going to do? Is Russia's going to continue to be able to bully Ukraine if they want to, if they see us as weak? China and Iran, they can do what they want, and who knows what we're going to get out of North Korea. We must be ready. We must get this supply chain going again and bolster our military as we ask those to serve in it need everything they have, everything they can get in order to do their job and be safe from unnecessary risk. I yield back.